Hey guys, it's Kelly. Welcome to today's video. We are here to do something like new and different on my channel. It's called Use Your Makeup. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna use our makeup, and we're gonna chit chat while we get ready. Let's go ahead and jump in. So before we dive full speed into getting ready and the makeup and such, I kind of wanted to explain this idea because it's kind of a lot of things put into one, right? And if we like it, it can become a series. So I'm calling it Use Your Makeup. And it's kind of like a chatty get ready with me because we'll be talking about some things, but I also do want to focus on the makeup at the end, so there may be a little bit of speed reviews. It's not really a shop my stash because shop my stash videos, you're typically going into your makeup collection, grabbing your makeup and planning to use it for a period of time, but I am purposefully shopping my stash for different products and using them for certain reasons, but it's just for this video. It's not really a project pan because I'm not trying to pan new makeup, but I do want to use the makeup that I have. And it's also not a full face of nothing new because there may be new products scattered in there. So it's kind of, does that make any sense? No? Any sense at all? It's kind of a lot of things put into one. So let me know what you think. We're gonna go ahead and get ready while we are chatting. I thought that it would be fun, you know, since my channel has grown in the past couple of years, to maybe talk about like my YouTube journey, kind of how I got here, where I plan to go with my channel, and we'll get ready in the mix also. I do have to say, I'm not necessarily the best person at talking and getting my makeup done at the same time because anybody that knows me in real life can tell you that I am someone, you know the saying, long story short, and it's supposed to be where you have a generally long story and you're making it shorter. I have the opposite talent. I can make a short story long, and so I'm gonna do my best not to do that today, but listen, I make no promises, okay? I am really, really good at talking. That's why I'm here, because I'm good at talking, and I can take something that should be really quick and easy and just draw it out. So anyway, let's get into kind of like the history of my channel, where it came from, and where it's going. You know, I kind of got this idea because YouTube has always been a hobby for me. If you are new to my channel, I'm an elementary school teacher. That's what I went to college for. This is my 14th year teaching. I moved from Michigan to Texas for teaching. So that is like my bread and butter. That's been my life's work. That's been my passion. I do really love and enjoy it. But shortly after my husband and I got married, we did get married in 2013, so we recently celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary, and shortly after we got married, I somehow found myself in on beauty YouTube. I don't even remember, I don't remember what brought me to YouTube. I don't remember what made me start to, you know, look up beauty YouTube and beauty Instagram, but I found it. I've always had a love of makeup. My older sister is 7.5 years older than me. She would wear makeup growing up. I wanted to be like her. Like, I wanted to wear makeup like her, right? So it's always been something that I've been interested in. But somewhere along the line, I found myself on beauty YouTube and beauty Instagram, and I was consuming it, and it was back when Casey Holmes was It's Blondie, and, you know, Jaclyn Hill, Nicole Guerrero. I don't remember what Nicole's screen name was, but I know it wasn't her name at first. Marlena, Makeup Geek, like those were some of the first creators that I found, and I would watch their videos, and I just really loved it. And at the time, I was living in Houston and teaching, but my husband, who also is in education, was coaching football at the time. And so makeup kind of became this like outlet for me, this hobby, right? My husband, if you have ever had someone in your family who is a coach, they can be gone a lot, right? So he was coaching football, which meant, you know, basically from the beginning of August through the end of November, like I barely saw him. I barely saw him because he was teaching during the day, and then after teaching, he would go and have football practice, and then there were games on the weekend, and then the coaches would even go in on Sundays and look at like footage from the game and whatnot, and it was a lot, right? Like he was gone all of the time, and so I kind of needed like a little hobby for myself, like something to do. So my husband actually encouraged me back in December of 2014 to start an Instagram page. And I don't know why I remember this, but I remember being in Las Vegas for my cousin's wedding, and this was back in 2014 in December. I remember being in Vegas for her wedding and my husband and I having a conversation, and I guess I must have been like talking about YouTube or Instagram or something, and he was like, you should start an account. Like, you like it, you enjoy it, you have makeup. I started purchasing more makeup. He was like, you should do it. And honestly, that's how KBellaBeauty started. Like, my husband helped me to come up with my channel name, and I just kicked it off. Like, I started on Instagram. At the time, we were renting a house, and my mom and stepdad had recently moved from Michigan down to Houston also, and we were all renting this house together while they like found jobs and stuff. And so my husband and I basically had the whole upstairs, and while he was gone and practicing and busy, I would spend hours, y'all. Hours just creating looks, playing with makeup, taking pictures. Since it was just the four of us adults and our dogs, and we didn't have like kids or anything, the upstairs house that we were in had 3 bedrooms. So we had a guest bedroom, but also one of the rooms was like, we turned it into a little office and like my little beauty studio. And I would spend so much time on the weekend just taking pictures, playing with makeup, creating different eye looks, washing them off, creating more eye looks. Like, I cannot even begin to tell you how many hours I spent doing that. And that went on for a year. I created relationships, I did collabs. It was back in the Instagram days when I feel like it was easier to grow on Instagram then. It's changed over time, but back in 2014, 2015, when I was doing Instagram, I felt like, it was kind of easy to find new beauty accounts to follow, and people would do like, I think they were called like S for S, like sub for sub, follow for follow. Someone would share your page, you would share their page. I remember doing a lot of that. I remember Instagram collabs where different people would like create a look together and they would all post it and post each other's looks. And I did a ton of those. And honestly, that's when I had the most growth in my YouTube channel, was during that time. When the early days, when it first started. And there are people from those early days that I still follow, that I still talk to, that I still keep in touch with, but that kicked everything off, right? So then fast forward to 2015, and my husband and I bought our house. And so then the conversation came up where my husband, was kind of saying, if you wanted to, like, I feel like you could do a YouTube channel, right? Like, you like talking, you like makeup, you watch a bunch of YouTube, you've created this Instagram. And the conversation kind of came up when I started the Instagram too, as he was like, try it out, see if you like it. If you like it, it can be a thing, you can do YouTube, right? So he was really my big encourager, the one that was pushing me, who was telling me like, you can do this if you want to. Like, if it's something you're interested in, you could totally make it work. So September 2015, we moved into our house, and my channel was born in December of 2015 here on YouTube. KBellaBeauty was born. I uploaded my first couple videos, and the funny thing is, and I'm going to tell you this story real quick and then I'm going to pause to do my eyebrows, but the funny thing is, our niece was staying with us at the time, and she was 17. She lived with us for her senior year of high school, and my very first videos, it's my daughter's room now, but it was my makeup room. I was sitting on the floor in my makeup room, and she was holding this like old camera that I had that was like years old, and she held it, and I sat in front of the window and she held it while I recorded these couple videos. And I remember they were just like rapid fire. Like, I didn't even have to edit a ton. My husband had this like old Mac computer. No, it wasn't even a Mac, it was a PC at the time. He had this old PC, and he like downloaded a free editing software and was showing me how to use it. And like, I didn't even have to do a ton of editing because like my videos, I feel like were under 10 minutes. Like, it was just go, 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 go. Like, I was spitting stuff out while my niece held the camera. And my first couple videos, one I think might have been November favorites, and the other one was like makeup geek shadows, and maybe like makeup under $10 or something like that. Like those were my first few videos in December of 2015. It's fun to think about, but I don't think that I can talk and do brows at the same time. I normally do my brows off camera. I'm gonna try to do it on camera to where you can see it, but I'm gonna fast forward through it. So we're gonna pause on the story for now. Okay, so there we have the brows. Obviously, I'm gonna speed through it, so I don't know how long y'all saw of me doing my brows, but my clock, my timer is 18 minutes right now, and I started at 10 minutes 43 seconds. So I could never do a 10-minute makeup routine because it took me like 8 minutes to do my brows, so there's that. Okay, so we're talking about my YouTube channel, right? So now it's December 2015. I've uploaded a couple videos. I was not like a regular uploader right off the bat. It was just kind of a for fun thing. I was playing around. I was learning as I went. But back when I started, I vividly remember like purposefully looking for smaller YouTubers like myself, because again, I was watching Jaclyn Hill, Casey Holmes, Nicole Guerrero, like Marlena from Makeup Geek. They already had such large followings by the time I created my channel that I didn't really know like where the smaller YouTubers were. But again, the algorithm is like watching what you're doing, and you know, I didn't even have like mid-sized YouTubers, like 10,000, like it was just the larger YouTubers, like that was it. And so, I can remember purposefully trying to find smaller YouTubers, and it took me a while to do so. But Samantha Marge, I've said this before, was my first friend on the YouTube space in social media. And if I'm remembering correctly, and I only remember this because I've looked through like old posts of mine and stuff, I think we were Instagram friends first. I think I found her because she was doing book content at the time. I might have been searching for books to read because, again, I was bored. My husband was working a lot. And so I found her on Instagram, and then, I think in me uploading videos, I realized she had a channel also. So we started following each other. We did a collab in like, I want to say spring of 2016. And it was like our favorite lip products or something like that. And, she was like my first YouTube friend in the space. And slowly, through watching her and like her content and paying attention to people that commented on my videos, I started to find a few smaller channels, but it was very like few and far between. Like I remember in those early days, it was very difficult to find smaller YouTubers, and there are a few, like I've seen a lot of people come and go, but there are a few people from those early days that I still talk to, like Makeup with Mariella. I got to meet her in Vegas. We found each other, in those early days of YouTube, probably maybe 2017, 2018, 2019, something like that, before I had my daughter. But there aren't very many of like the smaller influencers who I knew from back when I first started. And honestly, at the time, it was an outlet for me. It was a hobby. It was keeping me company, but it wasn't something I was doing on the regular. If I had, plans on the weekend with a friend, then I wasn't uploading, I wasn't editing. If my husband and I had plans, or if it wasn't the season for him and we were doing something, I wasn't maintaining my channel regularly by any means. I was uploading here and there. It was very sporadic in those early days, and I wasn't really focused on like the community aspect or necessarily meeting people through the beauty space. That wasn't really something that I was aware of or interested in or looking for. I had people that I would say I was friendly with, that I would Instagram DM with or talk to, comment on all of their videos, but it wasn't even a ton of people. It was a handful of people, but it wasn't my focus at the time. My focus wasn't building community. My focus was giving myself something to do. And, I was teaching full time. At one point in time, I was working at Victoria's Secret also. And my filming schedule has always been just that, a schedule where, being a teacher, I would not do anything with social media during the week, but it would be all on the weekend. And in those early days, I would spend all day Saturday. It would take me 2 or 3 hours to put makeup on, and then I would spend 2 or 3 hours filming, and then I would spend all day Sunday editing because, again, my husband was gone. And that was just kind of like the life of my channel. Okay, my daughter just got home with my mom, so I don't know where I left off, but we're gonna do a little bit of bronzing. So fast forward a couple years, maybe we're now in like the 2017, probably more like 2018 days, right? And I started noticing, and following some people, that there were Ipsy events, Gen Beauty events. There were events that were happening in the beauty space that people were going to. And at the time, it was not something that like I was trying to do or something I was getting into because I didn't really have those close-knit relationships. Like there would be people that I would casually talk to. I started realizing that some of these content creators had relationships with each other outside of the YouTube space, and they were meeting up at Ipsy or Gen Beauty, and they were rooming together, and they were doing all of these things together. But because I had kind of just haphazardly started this channel and haphazardly uploaded here and there, I didn't really have that sense of community. So I never put myself out there. I never went to an Ipsy. I never went to a Gen Beauty because I was like, well, I don't have anybody to stay with. Like, I don't want to go to New York or LA by myself. And I wasn't a part of the community. But again, in those early days, that wasn't really what I was striving for. I was just keeping myself busy. But I would say that it was around 2018-ish when I started realizing that there was an actual community there, and people were actually getting together, and people were actually talking to each other outside of just DMs and Instagram, right? So I start noticing this. So around that time, I feel like I started to be more intentional with my YouTube, and I tried to kind of give myself like a little bit of an upload schedule, and I was trying to upload consistently, like 2, sometimes 3 times a week. I started, you know, researching my topics. What did I want to post? Because a lot of times at that time it was just, okay, it's Saturday, let me put makeup on. What do I feel like talking about? So I would say it was probably around 2018 when I was like, let me be a little bit more intentional. Maybe 2017, let me be a little bit more intentional. I've been on here for a while. Let me maybe plan out my content a little more. Let me maybe think about, you know, trying to upload more and really focusing on growth. But at the time, nobody that I knew was doing YouTube full time. Or, I mean, I didn't know a ton of people, right? But the smaller people, it was all like Desi Perkins, Katie from Luster Lux, Makeup Shayla, I Love Sarai. Those were the people who were doing it full time. It wasn't people that I felt like were relatable to me. And my channel grew very slowly because, again, in the social media space, you get what you give, right? And I was not really giving, to be honest. I wasn't. It was, like I said, it was something to keep me busy, to keep my mind occupied, right? So then in 2018, you know, when I started really uploading more consistently, I tried really pushing myself for 3 videos a week. I started, you know, trying to pre-plan my content, and I actually got to a point where I felt like I was getting some momentum with my channel. My channel was growing quicker than it ever had before, and I was very, very excited about it. And I also found out in 2018 that I was pregnant with my oldest, and she was planned. We were trying to expand our family. It was super exciting. And in this process of getting pregnant and all of that stuff, I never planned to stop filming YouTube. Now, I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, right? But it wasn't like, okay, my YouTube time is going to come to an end and now it's going to be motherhood. But I had my daughter in April of 2019, and I remember I was going to try and like pre-plan some videos. I was like, maybe I'll take like a month off or something like that. And I ended up taking 14 months off. I took almost a year and a half off of YouTube unintentionally because I had my daughter, and I was so caught up in like being a new mom and the newborn stage and figuring out what life looked like for me now. Being a teacher, I had her at the end of April, so I got to stay home with her until I went back to work in August, and I was just soaking up every moment of it, which I feel like you should. Right? I feel like you should give yourself an opportunity to do that if you're in that situation and that's what you want to do. And I loved it. And I remember there was one time, or maybe, I think maybe just one time in the summer in July when my husband was home, and I was like, you know what, let me turn the camera on, let me film something. I filmed a video, and I remember trying to edit it on my Mac that my husband had bought for me, not my laptop, but an old like refurbished Mac. And I remember like the editing system wouldn't work. I couldn't upload the video to it or something. And I just didn't think anything of it. And that was that. Like that was the end of my journey. I was barely posting on Instagram. I would still look at Instagram. I would still watch YouTube. But honestly, at the time, I wasn't even really wearing a ton of makeup. Like a lot of my makeup when I first came back to YouTube in 2020 and Instagram and stuff, a lot of my makeup had gone bad, and I pretty much had to do this like massive declutter and get all of this like older expired makeup out of my collection and kind of start over, because makeup was like the last thing on my mind. The newborn stage is so hard, but that's another video for another time. But I stayed away from YouTube until the world ended in 2020. The world didn't really end, which if you are interested in like apocalyptic, this is a side note, apocalyptic type of shows, there is one that my husband and I just finished called The Last of Us. I don't remember what it's on, maybe HBO or Max or something. It's The Last of Us. There are 9 episodes, and it's about like an apocalypse that happens in 2023. It's kind of like, I never watched Walking Dead, but there is some like zombie action in there and stuff. It was really good. I'm not typically into sci-fi and stuff like that, but I really liked it. I thought it was good. So that's just a side note. But 2020 happened, right? And so I did some working from home. By this time, my daughter's a year old. And I got back into watching some beauty YouTube. I got back into...
Did you say how old I am?
Yeah. Is that okay with you? Can people know how old you are?
No.
Oh, okay, I won't tell them.
Thank you.
Okay, I love you. And so I started noticing as, summer 2020 was hitting and I had more free time and I was home and my husband was home and my mom moved in with us at that point. So I had a little bit more free time and I was noticing that all of a sudden there was this smaller community of creators. And when I say smaller, I'm talking under 100,000, I'm talking under 20,000, I'm talking under 10,000, I'm talking under 5,000. All of a sudden, I feel like a lot of people in 2020 had extra time at home. They started uploading channels. And I realized in watching videos that there was this whole community of smaller creators who were not only creating content, but collaborating with each other. And thank you all for the collaborations. That's how I found so many people in the community. But I saw that there were actual, real, genuine friendships and relationships that now came from social media. And people were talking about texting each other and Marco Poloing each other, and they were doing collabs, and we talk all the time, and we're planning this together, we're planning that together. And all of a sudden, now there's this community of people who felt accessible to me. Like Desi Perkins, Katie from Luster Lux, Makeup Shayla, Jaclyn Hill. They were people I loved watching, but they weren't accessible to me. I wasn't ever going to meet Kathleen Lights in person, you know what I mean? So now all of a sudden there's a community of people like me who feel accessible to me. And that to me is what kind of sparked and ignited my resurfacing back on YouTube 14 months later, because all of a sudden, now I have this toddler. I was done breastfeeding at that point, and I feel like in a sense, in trying to juggle being a working mom and being a new mom and having a young kid, there is a little bit of where I lost myself just a bit, and I kind of fell into this new, very, very important role, but I lost a little bit of who I was before that. And so I kind of looked to YouTube as an opportunity for me to find the Kelly before I became a mom, and to find something that was just for me, a passion of mine, something I enjoyed, something I liked, and also now realizing there are a community of people and creators who also like what I like and they're interested in it, and it can kind of take me into my own little space, my own little thing for me that I do for me, because being in education and having kids, a lot of what I do, I'm giving myself to other people. So I realized that I could come back to YouTube and this could be my for me. This could be the space for just Kelly, if that makes sense. So if I'm remembering correctly, it was August of 2020 when I fired my camera back up. My husband had gotten me this wonderful camera that I still film on. It's the Canon EOS T6S or something. He had gotten it for me when I was pregnant. So I think for my birthday in 2018, because like I said, I had gotten a little bit more serious about YouTube. Before that, I think I was filming off of my iPhone for a while. So I fired the camera back up. At this point in time, my beauty room had moved from my daughter's room into my guest bedroom for a while until my mom moved in with us. Now it's in my bedroom. But when I came back to YouTube in 2020, it was for a different reason than when I initially started. When I was coming back onto YouTube, I was looking for, again, something for me, but I was looking for community. I was looking for friends who were as makeup obsessed as I am, because I do have Smegs, Smegs. Her name is Stephanie. People ask me that sometimes. Smegs is an inside joke nickname, but I have Smegs who loves makeup, and my other friends, they love to play in my makeup and stuff like that, but like nobody that's really watching beauty YouTube or following all of the new releases or anything like that besides Smegs. So I was like, you know what? I want to resurface. I want to come back to YouTube, but this time I had the purpose of not just keeping myself busy. That's the last thing I needed to do with a toddler running around and still working and teaching full time, but I wanted to be a part of the community, and I wanted to really take a moment to put myself out there, get to know people, get to meet new people, and really start to build some of those relationships with the purpose of I wanted to bring them outside of just the beauty space. And honestly, that is, by the way, I'm using this Park Avenue Princess bronzer. That could be a whole nother video, and I think I will focus on that if we like this series and do another use your makeup and talk about like the beauty community and forming friendships and stuff. But that was another thing that was kind of all in and of itself and was kind of new to me. And also at the time that I'm now kind of pushing myself back into beauty YouTube, these people that I'm seeing also have already formed friendships, some of them for a year or two, you know? And so here I am, this like kind of brand new person, throwing myself out there and trying to connect with people and reconnect with people that I lost touch with, and really putting myself out there, but in a whole new way, in a whole new sense of what I was doing before. And I have to say, my friend Heather was one of the first people that I connected with in coming back. I did not know who she was before my hiatus with my daughter. What blush do I want to use? Let's do this mauve one right here. But Heather was someone that I reached out to and we started chatting. And I have to say, she was so kind to me and so warm to me when I was coming back into the beauty space and trying to like find where I fit in. And, you know, I feel like the way that I had done things in 2017, 2018, 2016, you know, were so different than how people were doing them now. Things as simple as thumbnails. I remember I started watching all of Heather's videos. I started commenting. I followed her on Instagram. We kind of back and forthed a little bit. But one way that I thought, you know, maybe I can try and form a friendship with her is to maybe ask for advice, because I really loved her thumbnails, but I all of a sudden like didn't know how to make a thumbnail that would be appealing or relevant to people. It was different. I was using, I think, Canva before. Heather got me onto PicMonkey, but she took the time to like walk me through the process. She was one of the first people that was like welcoming me with open arms, and we actually formed a friendship. And for that, I'm forever thankful and grateful, because I kind of felt a little foreign. I felt like the new girl in this space. You know, I wasn't new. I'd been on YouTube for so long, but I had been away for so long also. And we all know in technology, you know, things are changing. Like things change all the time. And I just kind of came back to this world that was so familiar in some ways, but so different in other ways. And when I came back, you know, I wanted to really be regular with my uploads. I still don't think that I realized that people, you know, underneath 1 million subscribers, underneath 100,000 subscribers, I didn't really realize that that could be a career for people. So it wasn't really anything where I was like, I want to make this a career. It wasn't any of that. I wanted to connect with people. That was my goal coming back. So over time, in developing some friendships, you know, and downloading Marco Polo and getting to know people on Marco Polo, that also, these friendships and these relationships opened up opportunities for me to meet some of these amazing women that maybe I never would have met beforehand. You know, I mentioned that I was scared before to do things like Ipsy or Gen Beauty or, you know, any kind of creator event because I felt like I didn't know anybody, right? But all of a sudden, you know, I'm developing these friendships, and I developed a friendship with Makeup Molly. I did know who she was before my hiatus. I had watched her, so I knew she was from Michigan. I think I found her through Samantha. And when I came back and was forming these friendships, I was still following her. And I remember I had gotten into The Bachelor at the time, and I remember her posting something on her stories like, hey, I need someone to talk to about The Bachelor. And so her and I kind of started chatting that way. We had that connection that we're both from Michigan, and our friendship formed that way. She was the first person that I met from the beauty space. I went up to Michigan for a wedding, and she invited me over to her house and we got to meet and connect that way. Angie and Jaclyn moved from Sweden to Austin, Texas, and her and Heather were doing something together in Austin, and they invited me out to meet them for dinner. So Steve and I went with the kids, and they got to meet my family. I got to meet them. That was amazing. And it just kind of formed these friendships that when I think about it, yes, these friendships have to do with YouTube and social media. That's like what brings us together, right? But when I talk to these women, I'm not just talking about YouTube or social media or even beauty content. We're talking about our families, how we're feeling, vacations, what's going on, the mundane, like day-to-day type of stuff. And they really again, this can be another chat if we want to about beauty community and their friendships, but this opened up an avenue for me to now put myself out there in a different sense. And Samantha March and Simbri from Simbri Thinks created Creators and Friends. I was invited, Karen Harris came to me on Polo one day, and by this time I'm pregnant with Quentin, or maybe I had just had him, and she's like, hey, there's a group of women who are going on a trip together. Would you be interested? And I was like, yeah. She said, okay, great. I'll give them your name. That's how I got invited to the Charleston trip. Simbri reached out to me. From there, they had a Vegas event. And I went with Heather and Angie and Heather's sister-in-law, and we went to the Vegas holiday party for Creators and Friends. And I have to say, at the end of the day, if it weren't for my husband, I wouldn't have done any of that. He bought me this camera that I film with Christmas 2018. When I came back to YouTube in 2020 for my birthday, he bought me my ring light. And then when I was either pregnant with Quentin or he was a newborn, maybe, I think I might have been pregnant with him. And when I was first introduced to the Creators and Friends Charleston trip, and I remember telling my husband, half expecting him to say, yes, that's crazy. You're going to have a 9-month-old and you're going to be breastfeeding. Why would you go on this trip? And I brought it up to him and he was like, I think you should go. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, I think you should go. I think it'll be great for you. And I remember saying to him, but you're going to be home with the kids, right? We have this 3-year-old, we have this 9-month-old, you're going to be home with the kids. And he looked at me and he said, Kelly, I don't need you home to parent my children. These are my children. I can parent them whether you're here or not. And I was like, okay. And so this has really been a discovery for me and kind of pushing me out there in a new way and experiencing new opportunities that I never really had before because I didn't put myself out there. So that was fun. I probably had a whole 10-minute conversation to myself. I thought I was recording, and then my daughter walked back in the room and I looked up and I was not recording, and I started my eye look. So I did use the Milani eyeshadow primer, and I'm dipping into my McGrath palette. This is the Divine Rose. It was sent over from a friend. I took this dusty rose shade and put it in the crease on my BK201, and then I took my Singe Beauty EO5 and I tapped into this deeper shade right here, and I was putting that on my outer corner. Then I went in with my E42 Precision Firm Blender, back with the dusty rose. Now I'm going to take a little bit of that deeper brown for the outer corner. But what I was talking about to myself, apparently, are my goals going forward for YouTube and the beauty space and what I am wanting from my channel, because now I'm in a unique position where I do, have friends in this community who have made a career of social media and, have created their own businesses. Angie, Singe Beauty, they're really doing, these women are doing things in the community, and it's amazing to see. But one thing I will tell you about these women who are hustling so hard to create businesses for themselves, they are hard workers. These women, what you don't see are all of the hours that they're putting in, the late night filming, the early filming, the filming when they don't feel good. That's, my attitude in the past was, I don't feel good, I don't feel like filming right now, I'm not gonna do it. These women who are making it out here and making this a career, they're filming even when they don't feel good. They're filming even if they're going on vacation. They're pre-filming. They're doing stuff. They're doing stuff. They are hard workers. But going forward, what do I want from my channel? Because I'm in a position where I've now been on here since 2015, the end of 2015. It's been a long time. And I've really only made a handful of payments from YouTube, from AdSense, from, my links. And my goal, I'm going to put it out there to manifest it, right? My goal would be for my channel to fund itself. That when I go to purchase makeup, it's funded through my beauty YouTube, through the AdSense, through watch time, people watching my videos, commenting, liking, and me getting a cutback from YouTube for the views, for people watching my content. I also, if you ever click my links, thank you so much, because I do get a portion of money back from that. But that's my goal from YouTube. I would love to be able to continue in this space where I get to talk about what I love. I love makeup. I get to talk about how much I love makeup, but also to maybe have it fund my habit, you know? And I feel like it, you know, to me at least, sometimes feels a little taboo to talk about that. But if you think about it, like, I have a friend who's a photographer. She's a teacher like me, but she takes pictures on the side and she likes it. She enjoys taking pictures and it generates income for her. Right? My best friend from college, my college roommate, I just went to her wedding. She works for a company. I don't want to say it in case she doesn't want it out there, but she also has her own business taking pictures, Sincere Smiles, in the Dallas-Fort Worth area on the side. And she makes money off of that. It's her hobby and she loves it, but she makes money off of it. So makeup is my hobby and I love it, but I would love to turn this hobby into something where it is funding the makeup that I purchase. And I think that would be great. And you know, in 2024, I would love to maybe do some sponsored posts with brands that I love. I would love to be invited to more creators and friends trips. I would love to meet up with my friends some more. I would love to maybe have some more opportunities, but I know that that's going to take, I'm going to go into this special shade right here and my BK203. I know that it's going to take a lot of hard work, and I know that I'm going to do it first without spraying it. I know that I'm really going to have to put in the time and effort if I want to see a return on what I'm doing. Like, I can't just say, I don't feel like filming today, you know, so I'm not going to. I have to actually put in the work, and luckily now I'm going to try it, spraying it a little bit. Luckily, my husband, he is so sweet and supportive, and he purchased me some more lighting because I'm still at a point where I have my ring light, but I still am only really filming on the weekends and using, you know, the help of natural light. But now I have this background light that you've been seeing in some of my videos recently, and you know, I have the help of that to give me some more ambiance in the background. I have some lights that I haven't set up yet that I can use, so I don't have to film just on the weekend, but I can put them up next to my ring light and film at night. But I know that it's going to take a lot of work. I know that I'm going to have to be consistent, and you know, I'm ready for that. I'm hopeful for that. I'm not throwing out like a subscriber count or anything like that out there, because that to me is not what's important. I'm already having fun with what I'm doing, you know what I mean? I've already gotten so much joy from having something for me, so I'm not really focusing on like how many subscribers I want to get. You know, I don't have big aspirations of like starting my own beauty brand or anything like that. I just would love to like support my habit, you know? Like, I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, I love makeup. Like, I would love to just support my habit. That's my goal. So I do want to grow. I want to see growth. You know, of course, you have something that you love. You want other people to love it too, right? Like, you want to see it propel forward, and that is true for me also. I feel like I need a little more bronzer or blush or something. That's true for me also, but I'm also just enjoying my time in the beauty community in this space. I'm hoping to, you know, grow more and build more relationship-wise. I think I'm going to take this one, which was a little bit more shimmery, on a ring finger and kind of press it onto, oh, super shimmery. Okay, we're going to press that on there also. But I would love to grow, you know, relationships on here also, and just grow my channel, grow, you know, just grow. I just want growth. I want growth in 2024. I want to travel more with my husband. We love traveling. We were traveling before kids. We kind of took a break having young kids, but we've kind of picked up our traveling again, and we started a travel Instagram account called The Friends of Travel. That is linked down below if you are interested in travel and you want to follow. But that's my plan, you know? That's what I'm manifesting. I'm manifesting growth. I'm manifesting, you know, more opportunities, hopefully with brands, hopefully more trips with friends, and that's it. That's what I want, you know? That is what I want. This shade is very special, very sparkly. But then when I go to blend it, it kind of blends away a little bit. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna pause for a moment, and we have done a lot of talking. I have a lot of fallout under my eyes right now, which is not really my cup of tea, but that's okay. I'm gonna finish up my makeup real quick because part of my use your makeup is not just chatting together and getting ready, but I do wanna talk about some of the makeup products that I've used, and I'm gonna like finish my eye look and pick a lip color. What do I wanna do for the inner corner? Maybe do I wanna take this shade for the inner corner? And I'm gonna pop back on here in a moment with my makeup done, and we're gonna talk about the products I used and why I used them. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here's a close-up of the finished look. Just to let you know what is on my lips, I am using the Beeper lip liner from Colourpop and the Ravie Beauty Lily lipstick. I did take Beeper and kind of outlined my lips but filled in the sides a little bit, and then I took Lily and layered it up on top to really get like a bright pigmented look. But I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you out, and we're going to finish the rest of this video because I wanted it to be like use your makeup, right? So get ready together. We were doing some chatting, but now I want to talk to you about the actual makeup. Okay, so I want to kind of give you some like little mini reviews of the makeup that I chose to use today, and I want to encourage you to dip into your own makeup collection. So there are some things that I use like pretty much almost every day, right? I start with the same primers almost every single day. I really don't have that many primers. I go in with my Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Nice and my Dewdrops. I love these, super hydrating. I have dry skin. And I go in with my Tatcha, the Liquid Silk Canvas. I also have the e.l.f. like liquid putty poreless primer, which I think is supposed to be similar to the Tatcha, but I love the Tatcha one. I love that one more than the e.l.f. I use it like to kind of smooth out my face and smooth out my pores. But if I'm just filming and and then I'm gonna like be home, I won't really reach for the Tatcha. I'll reach for the e.l.f. over that, but I do have something to do today. I'm going to leave my house later, so I went in with the Tatcha, and I love these together. I love them in combination. I've been using them for several years now. When these are gone, I'll definitely get the Tatcha again, but I might wanna try a different hydrating primer. Like this has been go-to. I think this is my third jar, and I really do love it, but I may wanna try something a little different. So then another product that I always use, this one is like a go-to staple. I mean, like in my best of beauty for 2023. This is the Sigma Color Correcting Duo. You can see I have hit pan in both sides. This is the light to medium. I will definitely repurchase this when I use it up because I do struggle with dark circles. One, it's hereditary, I feel, and I've kind of always had them. But two, they do get worse when I am tired. And, you know, having young kids, like my son was just sick after New Year's for a week. Like he was up in the night. I have dark circles. I need to color correct them. So I use this every single day, hands down. Like I need it, okay? I need it. The other product that I'm using almost every single day is my Auric Glow Lust. This one is in the shade Morganite. I don't use this product necessarily so much because I love it. I think it's a fine product. I use it because I have it and because it's expensive. So if you have products that like, you're like, okay, it's expensive, I need to use it, like find a way to use it. For me, it feels like an extra step. Sometimes I put it all over my face, sometimes just the high points of my face before foundation. Today, I mixed it in with foundation. And the foundation that I was using today is the Juvias Place I Am Magic Natural Radiance Foundation, and I have the shade Alexandria. Now this was gifted to me by my friend Molly. She sent this my way because she had several shades and she was like, do you want to try it out? Sure. I mean, hello, natural radiance. Like I have dry skin. I want to be radiant, right? But she sent this to me, and then honestly, I have not been reaching for it. I was trying to finish up my Patrick Ta foundation. I have not dipped into my collection. So other than trying this initially, I haven't used it too much since. So I wanted to use it today to kind of get like another feel for it. So I pulled this out purposefully. It's not an everyday. It's not something I'm constantly reaching for, but I wanted to remind myself of what it feels like on the skin. And I can honestly say, I feel like it feels comfortable on the skin. It's more full coverage than I typically go for, and I feel like it's buildable. I kind of just did one layer and stopped there, but if you do like more full coverage, I feel like I could have gone in with more. I had some more with a full pump on my hand. I definitely could have built it up, but full coverage isn't really my style, and so So this is a radiant foundation, but I made it even more radiant by combining these two together. Then I went in with concealer. I only have 2 concealers, if you count the color corrector 3, but these are the only concealers that I have in my collection. It's the Pat McGrath in L5 and the Milani Conceal and Perfect in 115. I use these 2 together. It's not ideal for me. I would prefer to use just one, okay? Like, I would not prefer to put 3 concealers underneath my eyes, but that's what I'm doing, right? So the Pat McGrath is a little bit deep for me. L4 I used up completely, and I loved it because the Pat McGrath is super hydrating, but it does give me the coverage that I'm looking for without settling or caking up my under eyes or being creasy or uncomfortable. I am 36, so I do have fine lines and wrinkles. This is comfortable and hydrating, but also gives me coverage. So I do really like it. If I had L4, I would probably use just L4, but L5 is a tiny bit deeper than I would like, so I do go in with the Milani Conceal and Perfect. I like this one also. It gives me more of a full coverage, not quite as hydrating as the Pat McGrath, but also not uncomfortable for my under eyes, and this one is a little bit too light. So it works perfectly to blend the 2 together. Before I powdered today, I did do a little bit of cream bronzer. Creams are not my favorite. They're not my favorite. So I pulled out my Rare Beauty. I am in the shade Happy Soul, or that's the one that I do have. With it twisted all the way down, I do still have a little bit of product. Of course, you can twist it up. This is one I'm using because I have it. I don't think it's a bad product, but the thing with creams is I would go in with a powder on top of it anyway, just to kind of set it and make sure it's comfortable and make sure everything is like locked in place. So again, for me, it feels like an extra step. Now, I have tried some creams where I feel like they blend away too easily. I don't feel like that's the case with the Rare Beauty. It's not quite bold and pigmented enough for me to just stop there. Like, I do still feel like I need a powder bronzer, but it works well enough. I like it enough. Now, if I use it up, would I repurchase it? No, I'm trying to stay away from creams. A powder. If you're looking for something to smooth, I really love this powder as a smoothing powder. It is the Prisme Libre from Givenchy. I have the shade 3. It's like the pinky peachy one, and I just kind of mixed it all together. I did use my Singe Powder Puff today to kind of set underneath my eyes, my smile lines, and my forehead. I don't really set the whole face, although sometimes I do just kind of like to set it down. Like whatever's left, I'll just kind of like pop all over the face, right? But I'm not necessarily trying to set my whole face. This is a little bit heavier. It's not heavy, okay? It's not heavy, but it's heavier than the Hourglass translucent veil that I was using for a long time, and I love that one. But this one is more smoothing. I feel like it really gives me a smoothing effect, so I enjoy that one a lot. Now, this is where I was kind of, oh, my brows. My brows are another thing. I use the same products. I don't have a ton of products. So I went in with my Patrick Ta Major Brow Defining Pencil in the shade Blonde. One of the things I love about this is that, you know, is this falling out? Oh my gosh. It's about to fall out. Oh my gosh, it's about to fall out. Oh, no, no, no. Well, that's never happened before. This is my second one. I repurchased it, but the caps are different sizes, so that makes it easy. You have a spoolie on one end.
What happened?
My product is falling out. It didn't fall all the way out, but it's falling out. But it's okay. I'm still going to use it. That's my daughter. Anyway, I like this. I go back and forth between this and the Anastasia Brow Wiz. I had been using the Brow Wiz, then I was like, let me give this a go. So this is my second time trying this one. The funny thing is, every time I switch back and forth, so I just finished the Brow Wiz, right? So I got this one again, and I'm like, I kind of think I miss like the ease of the Brow Wiz, right? But when I used this before and then switched back to the Brow Wiz, I was like, oh, I kind of miss the pigmentation and like the waxiness of the Patrick Ta. So I just kind of go back and forth. Then I was also going in with my ABH Brow Definer in Caramel because I do have to create a brow. Y'all saw that today. I have to start from scratch, so it gives me a larger area. And then to set everything down, I went in with my ABH Clear Brow Gel, and that kind of locked everything in place. But the other products that I was using on my face is why I kind of wanted to do this use my makeup challenge, if you will, or use my makeup get ready with me, is I was a little bit more strategic in what I was putting on my face. So for starters, I used a face palette, and this is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Cheek Palette Precious Gems. This was holiday 22 maybe, and so it has this bronzer right here, which I actually feel like I could use a little bit more bronzer, the Park Avenue Princess bronzer, which which looks like it has a little bit of a sheen when I look at it in pan, but on my face, it's not something that I feel like is bothersome or like too shiny or shimmery for a bronzer. But again, keep in mind, I have dry skin, so I like a really hydrated look, you know? So if there is a little bit of shimmer, I don't mind it. But one thing I've learned about myself is I do not reach for my face palettes enough. Now, I have found part of why I don't love doing like project pans or shop my stash is I find when I force myself to use makeup products for like a period of time, then it becomes this whole like, well, I don't want to use it thing. Like, I just want to use what I want to use. I want to use my new stuff. I want to use my go-to. I want to use what I want to use. So I don't really reach for this. So I thought, well, if I just make myself, I'm going to go back into the blush in Luxe. If I just make myself use it for just like one little get ready with me, I have an opportunity to rediscover what's in here and get a little bit more use out of it. So this was purposeful. I wanted to get some more use. I wanted to try it out. I wanted to use blush and bronzer, and that's what we did today. How do I? Then for highlighter. This may be a little controversial, and this can be a topic for another day, but I do own the Jaclyn Hill Mini Highlighter in the shade Iced. We now know that Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics is closing, so this is no longer. I'm unsure what I'm going to do with this highlighter. It works fine. It does kind of remind me of like the Becca formula a little bit. It's a little bit of like an icy highlight, gives you kind of a pop. Luckily, no specks of glitter, no chunks of glitter. I'm not like a fan of the glitter, right? Like, I don't want glitter all over the place, although I did that with my eyeshadow today. But I don't know that I'm going to keep this one. It's not a favorite of mine. I really don't reach for it. It sits kind of in the back of my drawer, and I figured, well, hey, we just found out Jaclyn Hill is closing her brand, Jaclyn Cosmetics, so might as well pull it out and use it. So that was my purpose there. And then for eyeshadow, I finally went in with my Pat McGrath Divine Rose. This was a gift from a friend. She sent it to me because she had two of them. I was going back and forth between wanting this one or Moonlit Seduction. I had mentioned that to her. She said, well, I'll send you the Divine Rose. So I bought Moonlit Seduction. She sent this to me a long time ago, and I had never used it. You can see some swatches in there. My daughter had played with it and swatched it one day, but I had never actually used it on the eyes. Now, I think this color story is beautiful. I don't know that I love the special shades as much as some like Pat McGrath stands. Please don't come for me. I think it's beautiful, but I need to use it a little bit more. And you know, I just filmed my eyeshadow palette collection the other day, and I laid all of my palettes out, and I was like, the fact that this has been in my collection for a while but unused is like not okay. Like, it's not okay. Like, I need to use it. So I purposefully brought that one in today because now I can say that I've used it. And I never added this to a palette ranking. I can't even remember. Did I get this in 23? Did she send it to me in 2023? I don't remember. I don't remember. Anyway, mascara. I only keep a couple mascaras in my collection, so I'm doing the Rare Beauty mascara and the Benefit Roller Lash. I always use the Roller Lash because it's lengthening and separates my lashes, but I've been going back and forth between the Rare Beauty and the Benefit, not the Benefit, and the Lancome Monsieur Big. Now, I like the Lancome more for volume than the Rare Beauty, but I feel like the Lancome sometimes can be like clumpy and spidery, and I don't get that with the Rare Beauty. And then for lips, I pulled out the Colourpop. Something just fell. What's happening? I pulled out the Colourpop Lippy Pencil in Beeper because I've been loving it lately. I have been reaching for this one. Recently did a makeup inventory. Have a ton of lip liners, but I've been reaching for the same ones. So definitely love this one. I lined my lips with it, and I wanted to get some more use out of Allie Glein's brand, Ravie Beauty. This is the shade Lily. I feel like her lipsticks are a combination between like a pigmented lipstick with a balm feel. You can kind of put it on with maybe no liner or like a light liner and get kind of a light wash of color. I wanted to build it up. I wanted it to be full pigment. Gave myself a couple swipes and a deeper liner, and that's how I got that. I have been enjoying this. It's something that I feel like will be easy to throw in my purse for like when I'm on the go or when I'm working. I don't really know that I will reach for these on like full glam days, but I feel like these lipsticks are good for like an everyday type of lip. Whew, okay, that's gonna do it for this video. That's gonna do it for this video. Give me the upside down smiling emoji if you made it this far in the video. You are the real MVPs. You are, because I know this is going to be a long one, because I know I've filmed for my son's entire nap. It is now 1:30 and he's awake. So there's that. We've been filming for a long time. This is going to be a long one. But if you guys like this, if you like the idea of doing a use your makeup where we're being specific about our makeup products for this look and kind of diving into it and doing mini reviews, but mixed in with like a story time, please let me know down below if this video does well. I'll make it into a whole series. If it flops, we did it one time. It was fun. Thanks for being here. You know, that's all I have for today. That's enough, I feel. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.